Well, good evening, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. I want to apologize right off the top. My throat is a mess from some allergies, so if I sound croaky tonight, my voice is going away a little bit. I do apologize. I may have to step out and take care of some kiddos as well, but we'll get through this. We have storms headed our way, and we've been talking about these, and we have storms right now. We could have more early in the morning and then more tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be kind of a busy weekend here in north central Texas. These are the storms we've been watching. Now, I will say this storm here, this one moving into Bosque County here, parts of Somervell County, that storm has been very impressive to watch all the way from the other side of Stephenville. This thing has been moving in, and this storm just on the west side of Johnson County here, just west of Cleburne, this one has been severe warned, but it doesn't at this point look like it is an immediate threat of anything too terribly extreme. I want to show you a couple of things. First, I'll show you the winds. First thing I want to tell you is I don't see a lot of rotation out here. That storm that was out towards Stephenville when it was out that way in Erath County did show some signs of rotation there and further out to the west as well. But I will tell you that for the moment, it doesn't look like I'm seeing anything too intense here. Going to be some stronger winds in Somervell County there with that storm moving into parts of Johnson County on into Cleburne. So we are seeing strong to severe thunderstorms out there. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. So that's another 3 hours from now. And as this dry line continues to move eastward, more storms are possible to develop. I think it's unlikely that we see too much more new activity, but these existing storms could definitely continue on and make quite a bit of noise here. Large hail is the primary concern as we go through the evening tonight, and there's going to be plenty of lightning out there, just a ton of lightning going on. And as these storms move eastward, this is going to probably be a bit of a long night, unfortunately, because you see how this line extends down to the southwest, and is moving eastward. So if I put this back into motion for you, before we do that though, let me just show you these hail cores. So this storm moving into western Johnson County, not quite as intense at this point, but we do have storms south of Glen Rose here, between Glen Rose and Hamilton. That's probably going to be the most intense line that we see here. And that's going to continue on really towards the southern half of our area right now. So it looks like Johnson County might get away from a severe thunderstorm warning for now. But this activity between Glen Rose and Hamilton, we will see what that activity does as it gets closer to parts of Johnson and mostly at this point Hill County. I know a lot of you have been asking about when this is going to hit most parts of our area, and it's hard to say at this point because we've seen several of these storms where they cycle up and then they weaken and then they kind of go back and forth here. So it can be tough to call exactly where and when this stuff is going to happen. So we'll have to kind of watch and see what's happening here. I will tell you that this storm moving into Cleburne, small hail will be possible, but it does look at this point like maybe that won't be as intense as we were initially thinking it may be heading towards that area. Looks like most of that's going to stay south of the Glen Rose area here, moving again towards Meridian, towards Whitney, eventually towards Hillsboro. And again, we'll have to see how long that can actually maintain its severity. Again, I've got a really dry, kind of rusty throat here, so we'll just have to kind of hang on to and be patient there. But the storms that are rolling in, again, western Bosque County right now, that's where the heaviest of this is. And you can see a few of those little hail cores there. And the storm moving into Johnson County looks at this point to me like it is below severe levels at this time. Okay, well, here's a new severe thunderstorm warning, and quite a small warning here too. And kind of interesting how they're doing this. So we have the larger warning here, and then there's the little one here, and then they issue just a small one here. So here's a smaller warning just on the south, really kind of the southwest quadrant of Johnson County. And that will move eastward, moving into parts of Hill County here, just the very small piece of northwest Hill County here. And then all of this is going to continue to move eastward. At this juncture, this storm looks like it will probably stay south of Burleson, Mansfield, that area. That said, though, I can't guarantee that. We'll kind of have to watch and wait and kind of see how this thing progresses as we go forward here. Getting a lot of notifications on the phone here, so just trying to kind of keep up with things. Okay. All right. So here's our setup here. One storm in Johnson County right now. Looks like this is not considered severe at this point. They are adding little warnings here and there with this larger complex here from Somervell County down into Bosque County. That's going to be heading eventually towards southern Johnson County, eventually over into Hill County, southern Ellis County, probably, and then, if it holds together, on to Navarro County. The farther away from this storm system we get, the farther away from this complex, the harder it is to say it's going to hit here at this time. We are seeing this line kind of come together, and if that happens, it could speed up. It could what I'm trying to say here, improve. It's been a long day. Improve its momentum here as it continues to move on to the east. So Johnson County right now, the only warning there is far southwestern Johnson County, and really that's going to be for this complex here that continues to move eastward, and it's not moving terribly quickly either. If we take a look at this, let's see. We're clocking this, what about? Okay, well, it says moving northeast at 40. That's an improvement on the speed, so maybe we are, in fact, looking at this one moving faster. So now, okay, so it looks like this is a new warning. I mean, it's been hard to tell. Several of these warnings have been kind of overlapping here, so it's been hard to see, but looks like this is a larger warning instead of these little ones they were issuing. Just a refresh on this one, covering, again, parts of Johnson and Hill counties as it continues to move eastward. As I mentioned, we haven't really seen a whole lot of a rotation with this, so there hasn't been a lot of that concern at this point. So that's the good news, but as we see this line come together, we could see more of a gust front, more of a bow echo there, which could increase your wind speed concerns as this continues to move eastward here. So, again, I know a lot of you want to know when is it going to hit here, there, and everywhere. And so let me just kind of talk about that. One thing I want to talk about is it's hard to tell exactly where this is headed. Now, I will say, I just said a second ago it looked like that was going to move away from Burleson, Mansfield. It does, now that I'm looking at it, look like it's moving kind of more northeast here. So this line is getting more of an easterly push as the dry line behind it continues to push it. And then, again, northern Bosque County, Somervell County, that's the heaviest of this. And then everybody calm down. I will cover your town in just a second. We're getting there. We're working on that. So just west of Cleburne, that is now moving towards the Burleson, Mansfield area. The good news is with that storm, at least the last several minutes here, it looks like it has been weakening so that the severe risk hasn't been quite as intense there. And then Bosque County, northern Bosque County right now, getting the heaviest of this, and then that will continue on mostly towards parts of northwestern Western Hill County at this time. So if we zoom this out a little bit more, you can see that this is part of a kind of a larger trend here. So all the way from Denton and Collin counties through the Metroplex here into Johnson and on into Bosque County there, on into Hamilton County there. So just a line coming through, headed eastward ahead of that dry line. Now, tomorrow morning, there's going to be a disturbance that moves through central Texas. That could move some storms through. And then as we go farther out in the forecast, another line of storms possible tomorrow afternoon, evening, looking like maybe more of kind of an evening deal as we get through our area. So just kind of watching the, and Dana, you've asked several times about Whitney. So I mentioned a little bit ago that, this storm is headed towards Whitney. So I would say in the Whitney area, you can probably expect this storm to be headed your way. I would wager in the next, the way it's moving, I would say in the next 45 minutes to an hour maybe. Excuse me. Okay. So all of this activity is going to continue to move east-northeast at this point. And so west side of Cleburne, that storm kind of moving towards Joshua there. This part of the storm, this is going to be your most intense side of this storm system as it continues to move on from the east, from Walnut Springs on down towards Cranville's Gap right now, moving into Meridian, moving into Morgan, and then that's going to continue to move towards Hill County. And then again, this storm in Johnson County, that's going to continue to move on to the northeast. It is still kind of got a northerly pull there. So Burleson, Mansfield, eventually possibly towards the Venus and Alvarado areas in the next several minutes. So let me kind of get back into the comments here. And I'm sorry, folks. I got to keep sucking down the water because I've been talking most of the day, and the allergies have torn up my throat, and I am croaking up here. I apologize. So somebody asking about hail, and yes, hail is definitely a possibility with these storms. So that's pretty much our primary concern with this storm system as it is right now. And so as we watch this line come through, though, I mentioned too that we could see this line come closer together as we watch this move eastward. As that dry line continues to push all of this eastward, we could see a little bit more of a bow echo forming. In fact, if you look at it, you kind of already start to see that trying to come together. Okay, sorry about that. I've got a lot of messages and things coming through. Your town. So, yeah, a lot of folks in the comments saying and it is true. So, if you're asking about your town, what time, all those kind of things, or which way it's moving, I try to put this up there so that you can see where you're at on the map. That's the thing, folks. And James Spann in Alabama talks about this constantly. If you're going to follow weather, you got to know where you're at on the map because we use maps, and that's how we show you where things are going on. So if you're new to the area, I would definitely encourage you to make sure you know where you are in relation to some of these larger towns. Maybe you're in a smaller town that's not on the maps usually. Figure out where you are in relation to those places, and that's going to be a big help to you. And Katie, I know people are still kind of trying to get beyond the hailstorms that we've already had. And I know that it's definitely the struggle, and I wish I had better news for you. And I apologize if you hear noise in the background, but the little one is still not asleep. He's kind of got a late night. I think he had a late nap and that kind of thing. He and his brother are hanging out, and I think that he's probably not thrilled that Dad is doing this and not whatever he's doing. And Jessica, yeah. So you're asking, do you think any tornadoes will pop up? The good news is it looks like our tornado threat is generally on the lower side at this point. So not terribly concerned about tornadoes at this time. But I will say that we are definitely looking at the possibility of some strong winds. As we saw in Ellis County not very long ago, we did see where some of those stronger winds can really do a lot of damage. And straight line winds are routinely underestimated across our area. People seem to think that if the winds are at a certain speed, that's automatically a tornado. That's not how it works. A tornado's rotating winds. Straight line winds are just as they're advertised, straight line winds. So it's, kind of one or the other. So with this line, we have seen some areas that, had some rotation coming in. I'm sorry, folks. I got a lot of people texting me. A lot of messages come in and, hey, what time is it coming through? It's not just in the live stream here, folks. There's a lot going on. It's a Saturday night. There's a lot going on. People want to know what's happening out there. So as this line continues eastward, I would venture to say it's moving through Cleburne now. It's going to be moving into the Whitney area towards Hillsborough. I would say towards Whitney probably in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Hillsborough not long after that. And then our Ellis County folks, this will be moving towards you probably closer to midnight here. So you have a little bit of time, right, to be prepared for this. But make sure that you are signed up for Weather Call. Let me try to grab that here. And for those of you that might be kind of late to the show here, I apologize for my voice. I've had allergies messing with my voice all day. And I've been talking all day, so it doesn't help that I've been having to talk all day, and I've been kind of out in the wind and those kind of things. And now I'm trying to do live coverage, and we've got more storms possible tomorrow morning. We got more storms possible tomorrow afternoon. I'm not going to get much of a break, so I'm going to have to definitely the throat coat tea is a big, big asset. Okay. So here's our line, and this is definitely coming together for more of a straight line here. You can see it's starting to kind of fill in the gaps here between Cleburne and Meridian there. And as this line moves eastward, it will probably cover all of our area at one point or another. So yeah, I see a lot of you asking about your town, and we're definitely going to cover that as we go. We'll definitely try to make sure that that everybody knows where it is. As I've said before, though, if I'm not covering your town, no news is good news. That's kind of the way that this whole gig goes. So it'll be moving into Meridian now, towards Morgan now. So it's going to be moving into Rio Vista, I would say, in the next 10, 15 minutes. Going to be moving towards the Whitney area, I would say, in the next, we're talking probably the next 30 minutes or so. Hillsborough, more closer to 45 minutes. Grandview, Venus, Alvarado area, probably in the next 30 minutes or so. Same for Burleson, Mansfield. So what I'll tell you, though, is this storm in western Johnson County at this point does not look to be a huge hail producer, but it does look like it's going to continue to roll on to the northeast. And I would say small hail is probably a pretty good bet, but not the larger hail like we see in these warned storms. And I would expect to see a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of more of Hill County at this point, and parts of Johnson County here pretty soon, I would think. So let's take another look at the winds here, and that is going to start to become kind of my greater concern. So as far as let's back that off just a little bit. As far as the Stephen Cole, I'll get to that question here in a second. As far as the winds are concerned here, I don't see a one unified kind of gust front here. I also don't really see any rotation. I know there's been a lot of little hook shapes here and there, but I'm not seeing any kind of rotation at this point. But I do think that these storms are capable of at least 40, 50 mile per hour winds. If you're into a severe thunderstorm warning, then those storms could be pushing closer to, I would say closer to, 50 to 60 miles per hour. And generally 58 miles per hour, that's your baseline criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. And you're asking about, is that a hook near Joshua? Well, if it is, then it's the opposite direction. Generally a hook echo is going to be, counterclockwise rotation. This one's almost going clockwise. So I think it's more of a coincidence than anything. And I know that many of you are probably looking at Morgan. Hey, is that a notch? What's going on there? I don't see any rotation in that area either. So I think we are good to go in terms of that area. All right, so getting some longer comments here. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Yeah, and I know that there's been a lot of hail damage that you've been trying to, folks have been trying to get fixed and that kind of thing. probably trying to get some of that hail stuff fixed, and hopefully tonight we can avoid too much of the hail damage in our area. What I will say is that these storms, none of these storms are looking as impressive as they did when they were out farther towards Stephenville, out towards Brownwood. That storm looked like a monster. Now, I don't want you underestimating these storms for that reason, but it does definitely look like this activity. I mean, it's definitely a strong system. That dry line is definitely making a statement here. And, as we watch this move eastward, let me put that back in motion for you. There we go. Nice update. So what I want to show you is, now that I've done that, pause it again. So we are starting to see, I think, more of a kind of gust front here. So this will continue making its way eastward, and we could see winds continue to increase along the leading edge of that storm. And it looks like I'll get an update on the velocity here in just a second. But we're going to start seeing more winds from Meridian to Morgan up into the Cleburne area as it continues to make its way eastward. That's where we will, excuse me, I'm so sorry, folks. That's where it will continue to push on towards the east as this line, as it pushes on towards us. It's going to be a rough, I don't know if I'll have a voice by the time we're done with this whole thing. Man, it's been rough. Mike asking, any guess on the size of hail for the Midlothian Waxahachie area? It's a little, I mean, it's too early to say. I mean, that's the thing, folks. I know you want to know what's going to happen with this storm, an hour ahead. It's really hard to tell because this storm could definitely weaken or intensify by the time it gets here. So it's really tough to say precisely what to expect. I mean, I can tell you that, as far as these storms are concerned, hail up to, I would say as far as what to expect and what to be ready for, I would say winds, hail of, quarter to $50 sized hail. So Renee Hall, that is Tornado Master. So if you Google Tornado Master, that should get you to them. They will go out and do a free estimate, take a look at what your situation is, figure out the best way to get you set up for a storm shelter. But it's hard to say what the hail size is going to be that far ahead is what I'm saying. But I would say, quarter to $50 size hail, I think, is likely with some of these storms, or at least with the stronger storms, but we could see up to ping pong sized hail. You saw the update earlier today when they marked our area and said that, we could be seeing up to golf ball sized hail. So that is a possibility, but I don't think it's quite as likely. So we'll get back to kind of the lineup here, and here's our lineup. So here is the system that we're dealing with, and all the way from Burleson down through Johnson County, down through I'm trying to say Meridian, but it's Bosque County, down to Grand Falls Gap there. So it's making its way on eastward, and I would say this is going to continue on if I can move this out. I know there's a lot of folks asking, hey, when is it going to get to me? So my guess, let me just pause it for a moment here. It's a little easier to, excuse me, it's a little easier to estimate now that we've got a kind of a straight line here. And Derek Childs, shouldn't be any sirens going on in the Italy area. So, nothing near there yet. But from Burleson to Cleburne, on down through Meridian and through there, this line, I think, as far as moving into Ellis County, probably moving towards the Midlothian, Maypearl area. I would say in the next, what are we looking at? It's 11:20 now. I would say probably closer to midnight there, and then on to Waxahachie, probably closer to about 12:30 or so. That would be my guess. Now, as I said, as this line continues to come together and coalesce and move forward, we could very I think, definitely be looking at this line picking up pace some as it continues on. But hard to say right now exactly what to expect. Jeff Mayer asking, will the winds stay from the south or will they come from the west as the storm moves through? I mean, considering these storms as they move eastward, excuse me, I would say it's probably going to be, the winds will probably be coming in from the west. So just with the storm itself, because that's the way the storms are driving, that's, the way that the system will be pushing these. So I would expect more westerly winds as far as those storm winds are concerned. But ahead of it, yeah, you're looking more kind of south, southerly winds as we have had throughout the day. Okay. All right, so I'm checking some updates there. So haven't really had, at this point, any hail reports at this time. Probably not a bad thing. Probably means that there's nothing to report. So hopefully no news is good news tonight as we go forward. And I love all of the folks joining Weather Call. That's great. Make sure that you are informed. Of course, Weather Call is this service where when a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, tornado warning is issued, you get a phone call for a severe thunderstorm watch like we had earlier tonight that goes through 2 a.m. Then that you'll get an email. I think you might have an option of an email or a text, but that's not as urgent as a phone call this day and age. People don't want a phone call unless you absolutely need one. New severe thunderstorm warning issued as we're talking about this. New severe thunderstorm warning issued, and this one is definitely treating this more as kind of a straight line. So moving eastward into Ellis County, into Hill County. So as this moves eastward, again, we're going to be watching just a kind of a solid line come through. And thank you, Mike, for your donation through PayPal. Greatly appreciated. So it's moving northeast. It says it's moving northeast. I would say east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So it's definitely, definitely picking up pace, and then ping-pong-sized hail possible with 60-mile-per-hour winds. So the hail size is definitely going to be the bigger concern with all of this activity. So, yeah, lots of folks saying they just got their weather call. So thank you so much for doing that and being on weather call. And again, if you don't have weather call, there's several posts on the page that allow for you to do that. If you go through the description of this video, that will allow you to get on that as well. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of specific hail size reports at this point. If you're in Johnson County, if you're under this storm, let me know if that's hailing or not. I think we could still be seeing some smaller hail. Reports of hail in Keene. So let's kind of take a look at this storm real quickly. This is Johnson County. So Keene here. So here's that storm. I'm assuming, I haven't been given a size there. I'm assuming it's probably smaller hail. So from Joshua to Keene to Cleburne, so that is, let's see here. There's hail reports coming in, but they're Denton County, so nothing in this area. Okay, so small hail in Cleburne. So yeah, sounds like there's just, smaller hail in this area. Reporting, let's see, Peter marble size hail in Joshua. Yeah, so it sounds like Peter marble size hail in this particular storm. So sounds like it is below, at least below severe limits for the moment, or at least kind of right there. So it's not anything too terribly intense at this point. We'll go back to the winds, and as I talked about, now we're seeing this coming together. As we talked about, here's kind of this gust front, and here's the radar. Keep in mind that red is going away from the radar, green is going towards it. So presumably we're going to see this turn more red as the winds are starting to kind of go this direction. So that's where we're going to see, and you can kind of see this line here, this differentiation. That's where we're going to see that gust front of those winds out ahead of that line. So by the time this continues to move farther east, we will probably see that gust front pick up pace. And then as we look at the hail cores here, at this point, like I say, the hail cores are not near as impressive as they were. So that is good news there. So just some small hail there in Johnson County. Could be larger hail there near Morgan, up towards Johnson County, and then in parts of Bosque County there too. Melinda, seems like hail is getting more common. It's definitely been more common as far as our area in the beginning of March. Now that we're getting later in March, I mean, that's, that's, we usually wait until later in March, April, May to kind of really get our severe weather season started. We're already worn out. So that's just kind of the nature of where things stand right now. And let me put this into motion for you again. And so here's our line. And these storms, I mean, they're still kind of on their own to a degree. But for the most part, excuse me, folks, for the most part, that's going to continue to come together and be just one big line. And somebody asking about Joplin, Missouri. I don't cover Missouri. I'm here in north central Texas, and we're kind of limited to this particular area. So there's not a whole lot of help I can give you in Missouri, unfortunately. Trying to get back through some comments here. Somebody asking about Palmer. It's a ways away from Palmer, so we don't really have... Palmer's not really on the board at this point. And as far as the winds are concerned, I would think that these winds we're probably expecting 40 to 50, gusts maybe up to 60 or so miles per hour with these. I'm not seeing a whole lot of extreme wind at this point, so that's not quite... let's see here. Yeah, all the hail reports right now are in Denton County, so nothing officially here. Well, let me check this. Okay. All right, very cool. Let's see. Okay, lots of questions coming in. So let me try to get this back over here. Let me put this... And we are rolling tonight. Let me, hold on. Let me try to get back into some of these questions. Yeah, the crazy Texan on YouTube, it's I would say east-northeast. So yes, to answer your question. Kind of just a flat yes there. But it is definitely moving kind of a more east-northeast. Let's see. Somebody asking about Jennifer Rodriguez. Is Pecan Hill going to get one with the hail core? Again, it's a ways away from Pecan Hill right now, so it's hard to tell exactly what part of the storm you're going to get. Let me see. Jamie saying you thought you heard sirens. Probably not at this point. They do sometimes sound those outdoor warning sirens for severe thunderstorm warnings, but usually that's going to be if there's a specific tag with that. So extreme winds or very large hail, that kind of thing. That's where things kind of sit with that. So if you're hearing outdoor warning sirens and you're in the warning or well ahead of it, then either you're hearing something that may sound similar to it, or maybe a malfunction or something. But usually those sirens are not going to sound but for tornado warnings or those higher end severe thunderstorm warnings, and we don't have those in this area at this moment. And King James AV on YouTube, tornadoes are quite unlikely at this point. So not really expecting, not really looking at much of a tornado threat tonight. I'm just trying to get through some questions here. So Bob Harper in Midlothian just received a phone warning about this storm. It says take cover now. Can you differentiate between take cover now and a storm like this versus a tornado? Bob Harper, I don't know if you're using Weather Call or another service, but in a severe thunderstorm warning, as folks in the Waxahachie and Ennis areas can attest to, a severe thunderstorm can do damage. And so if you're dealing with a severe thunderstorm and, you happen to get a downburst or a microburst, that can do some damage. I mean, that can damage some windows. And I mean, you don't want to be near a window when that happens. And so really you don't have a tornado going through, but a severe thunderstorm can still do damage to a structure. And so really, when it says take cover, number one, get inside. You'd be amazed how many people we have to tell, hey, get inside the house when there's a severe thunderstorm coming. So take cover. I would say take shelter or something like that. Just, make sure you're inside. Maybe don't be in a, one of those, what do you call that? Your little patio with the windows, that kind of thing. Be smart about it. Really just use common sense. It's not, this is, anytime you hear take shelter or take cover, it doesn't necessarily mean, hey, you need to be underground. But it really is just, consider the circumstances that are possible with a severe storm and, take cover appropriately. Let's see. Trying to get through comments here, and we'll do a full timeline of everywhere here. So, okay. Trying to get a lot of comments coming in. So, so a sunroom. Whitney Johnson, I think you just heard part of that conversation. Whitney Johnson, no tornadoes. I think you heard part of a conversation, part of an answer here that we were giving. Somebody was asking about, they were encouraged by a message to take shelter with a severe thunderstorm warning issued. And I was just explaining the differences between the necessity of sheltering with a severe thunderstorm versus a tornado. So just trying to kind of cover that. So no tornadoes going on right now. So several folks asking about the Ovilla area, the Red Oak area. Of course, you are kind of on the edge of this warning there. So, I mean, this will cover the entire area. So that's the thing. When we have a line like this, excuse me, when we have a line like this that continues eastward, it is, this is pretty much going to cover the whole area. So if you're ahead of this storm, be patient. We will cover your area in one way or the other, and we will answer your questions. So our line continues to move eastward, and in this line, winds of 50 to 60 mile per hour possible. I mean, we could have gusts up to 70, I would say. I don't think we're looking at anything above that at this point. Like I say, unless we have one of those acute things like a downburst, microburst, that kind of thing. And then as this continues to move on eastward, obviously in Grandview, you're starting to get this moving into Whitney right now, moving into the Venus Alvarado area, moving closer to Midlothian as well. So Midlothian, Venus, going to be getting this here in the next few minutes. It's moving into Whitney here in the next few minutes here. So Hillsboro, I would say you're going to be getting this in the next, half hour, and then really in the next 15 to 20 minutes probably. Towards Grandview in the next 15 to 20. and then Midlothian the next 10 to 15 minutes, and then Waxahachie probably going to be a little bit later than that, so looking more 30 to 45 minutes from now. Towards Milford, again, it's probably going to be more 45 minutes to an hour there. I would say probably closer to 45 minutes, and then going on from there. Um, Jesse Parker, Ferris is not really under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point. So the warning ends here. Here's your polygon, and then Ferris is east of there. So Ferris is not included in that warning at this point. All right, trying to follow some comments here, looking for reports. So let me try to answer some of these questions here. It does look like this line is moving fairly quickly, so I think that we'll get this moving through pretty quick. Jesse, um, excuse me, sorry, Jesse, I would say. With your app, sometimes these apps, if there's a warning anywhere near a town, it just goes ahead and tells you that it's there. Now the app could also be showing you the severe thunderstorm watch, which does include there, so you have to pay attention to that too. But that's why I love Weather Call, because it's not going to call you unless it's specifically for your area. So you will know if you don't get a call, hey, you don't have to worry about it. If you do get a call, you're included in that warning. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking at a lower hail threat at this moment. We'll take a quick look at the winds here because we do have our gust front starting to kind of come together. So you can see stronger winds there near Venus, also stronger winds moving into parts of Central Hill County there. Excuse me. So moving into Venus, moving towards Midlothian, moving into Grandview, and then moving towards the Hillsborough area. Okay. I got a few people asking for the weather call info. Let me try to get that here. Get that posted. All right, so here's that information for weather calls. So just posted that there in the comments there. Let's see. So small hail in the Alvarado area. And if we take a look here, the hail cores are definitely minimizing here. That's the good news. The hail cores are definitely not as intense as they were. Excuse me. So that's the positive news we have here. The hail sizes are coming down. At this point, I would say the higher likelihood, I think, is that we're looking at the probability of again gustier winds, and so we're getting stronger winds on ahead of this. Strongest winds, I would say, are probably towards the Venus area, going to be moving towards Midlothian. Won't be surprised if there's some 50, 60 mile per hour winds in that area. And then as we get through Grandview, moving towards Itasca, Hillsborough, Whitney, that is going to be where we'll see some stronger winds eventually moving forward from there. So if you will excuse me briefly, I'm going to go grab some water so that I can hopefully hold on to my voice here a little longer. Just give me 1 second here, folks. And I'll leave the radar up here. And if anybody else is new, is asking, hey, where'd the guy go? Give me a second. I'm just going to grab some water real quickly. All right, sorry about that, folks. Poor voice is fighting for its life. So, uh, okay, that should hold me a little bit longer here. So we have our line here. New severe thunderstorm warning issued from parts of Tarrant into Dallas County, and then from Mansfield on down through Grandview on into Hill County. So this is our line, and it is much more of a straight line at this point. The hail threat has been has been dropping, and that is the good news here. So what we often see is where you have these lines, those excuse me, those what am I trying to say here? Those updrafts tend to not be as intense just because it's not an individual storm that can have kind of its own structure. You get into these lines. Now, that is where we start to see the stronger winds on ahead of those. So we may be shifting into more of a wind concern at this point. You can see stronger winds moving into through the Venus area, moving towards Midlothian now. Stronger winds in the Grandview area, moving towards Hillsborough. So somebody talking about a hook near Venus. I don't see rotation there. So I think not every hook on the radar, not every hook shape, I'll say, has has rotation along with it. So that's kind of where that stands. So we're not really looking at a situation where we have to deal with that. So that's the good news here. Okay. All right. So hearing that the rain is getting started over in the Midlothian area. All right. So yeah. So the severe thunderstorm warning. Hold on for 1 second. So, yeah, so the severe thunderstorm warning, if you're in Mansfield, you're definitely included in this warning here. One of these, at least. We have the warning to the south and the new one to the north. So, either way, yeah, Mansfield is definitely included in those warnings. Now, Midlothian, Venus, Grandview, on down to Whitney. That's where we have the line moving through right now. And we see a couple of areas from, Venus and Midlothian, then from Grandview on down towards Hillsborough. That's where we see kind of our stronger, those little bow echoes, where I would say we have the higher likelihood at this point of stronger winds, lower likelihood at this point of the severe hail. Looks like the hail has been kind of subsiding here for us, so that's the good news. The bad news for our area, and definitely for my voice here, which tomorrow may be interesting, excuse me, is we are looking at the probability of maybe some more storms in the morning, and then definitely more storms possible tomorrow afternoon and evening. So we will be watching that, of course, as well. And I do apologize for my voice. It seems like it's on the way out. Allergies have really hit me hard, and just brutal with me here. So yeah, you're going to get plenty of lightning in the distance from this storm. You're definitely going to see it. You're going to see it before you hear it, and then you'll hear it. I know that there's plenty of places getting thunder now across our area. So. Thank you to, let's see. What are we getting here? Okay. And, okay, thank you, Christopher, for your Cash App donation there. And then thank you to Keith for your donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciated. David, no, no sky noodles, no tornadoes happening right now. None of the, no reports of that across our area here. So I think we're good to go there. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be plenty of lightning and thunder here, especially um, overnight. I mean, you're going to see the lightning from quite a ways away. So the fact that you're seeing the lightning, hearing the thunder, does not necessarily mean that the storm is on top of you. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Yeah, getting reports of the winds picking up in the Midlothian area. So as that storm moves through, you're going to be getting stronger winds with this. We do have those two bow echoes from Whitney on towards Hillsborough and Grandview, and then from Venus on towards Midlothian there. Okay. So this storm is definitely going to make itself known as as it goes through. It's going to be, you're going to hear it for sure. Hold on there. If I can get my phone to cooperate. Okay. Just checking on the kiddos here. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that the lightning is pretty insane across our area. So I mean, it's going to be a light show. That's the thing, is this storm's going to be a very prolific light show. Um, and so as this excuse me, as this moves eastward into Hillsborough to Grandview, um, moving into Ellis County here. So we'll take kind of two two perspectives here. So right here in Ellis County, now if your town just went off the map, just give me a minute, I'll cover you too. So here's one part of the storm where we're seeing some gustier winds picking up, and that's into Midlothian, eventually moving towards the Maypearl area, and then on towards Cedar Hill, DeSoto, and that area. We'll be moving on towards Waxahachie after that. Again, the good news is that the hail sizes, at least estimated by radar, has been coming down. So it does look like things are starting to kind of calm down a little bit. Thank you, Matt, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated. And Ashley on Cash App as well. Greatly appreciated. Okay. All right. So where's the yeah? So okay, fresh update there. So as you see, kind of the green out ahead of this, that's probably your winds. So those winds are going to continue to roll on through, and they're going to continue to do their thing as this whole line moves eastward. So in moving into Red Oak, Pecan Hill, Waxahachie, Italy, that area. So that will be where we will see the stronger winds. But again, I would say, as far as those winds are concerned, I'm looking at 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe closer to 70. Let's see, Jeanette saying to go to Target and get the Beekeeper's Propolis sprayer lozenges. I mean, I'll use whatever I can get at this point because my voice somehow has to be back by tomorrow afternoon and evening for another round of storms. So any miracles we can make happen, I'm definitely okay with. Um, yeah, so Judy, I'm hoping I have some hot tea coming shortly. Don't quite have the time to brew that at this point, but it's headed our way. And I know that I shouldn't be drinking ice drinks, but for the moment, that's what I've got available to me. So I'm hoping that some hot tea is headed my way shortly. Uh, yeah, so I'll be hopefully getting more of the more hot tea in a moment. Um, and thank you, Penny, for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Okay. um, yeah. So everybody talking about warm water. I'm hoping that there's some warm tea coming my way shortly. So that is the I it, yeah. So the throat coat, the throat coat tea is basically the same thing. It's a warm tea with lemon. I usually put a little honey in there, and that usually works great. Let me see. um, so here's our storms. Here's our kind of our line here. This is moving about 45 miles per hour at this point. So as you see this pushing eastward, that is kind of what we're watching, and the wind speeds are increasing with this storm. That is kind of replacing the hail threat at this point. So if we put the velocity on here, you can see those pockets of stronger winds. One of those right near Venus towards Midlothian, and then one of those from Hillsborough on up to Itasca. And that's kind of where that's where we have kind of the bow echoes, if you will, those that are advancing ahead of this storm. And so hail and wind in Whitney. I mean that's it's moved. I think the heaviest stuff is probably getting ready to move out of Whitney at this point, moving into the Hillsborough area. And if you'll give me just a second here. Yeah, give me 1 second, folks. All right, folks, sorry about that. Okay, so I had to let Terry in. We had to double lock the door because the kiddo has learned how to open the front door by himself. So that's kind of where we're at. So new severe thunderstorm warning issued now, and in fact, if this phone will cooperate with me. Let's see. Should be getting a call any moment now. And I'm going to let the phone do the work for me. Oh, there we go. Thank you for that. I promise I'm going to get through tonight. So here we go. So I'm going to let this do the talking for a moment, give my voice a quick break.
This is Kevin Crouch. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for your location for a storm capable of producing damaging winds or large hail. We recommend seeking shelter in a sturdy building and staying away from windows. Repeating, you are in the path of a severe thunderstorm. This message comes from Weather Call Next Gen.
If you'd like to hear this message again, please.
So that's what you're going to hear when you sign up for Weather Call Next Gen. That's the call that you're going to get, letting you know that this warning has been issued. So we'll get back to the regular view here. First, I want to show you, though, we continue to see these wind speeds pick up. So you can see one area of stronger winds moving towards the Milford, Italy area right now, and then moving towards, in Midlothian, moving towards Red Oak and Waxahachie. And so Ryan, you're saying that that it doesn't sound like that. Are you not getting a call with my voice? What does it sound like when you get that call? All right, let's see. Lots of folks saying they got their call. So, but I'm hearing it doesn't sound like that. So I'm curious, what does your call sound like when you're getting the weather call there? Because if it's not sounding like that, then I mean, if you signed up with our so let me put the information here again real quickly. So if your call doesn't have my voice, I'll have to check into that. Because you should be getting a call with my voice. So I put the information out there for weather call in the chat there. So that is the link. But yeah, I mean, you should be getting a call from my voice. So it sounds like maybe some do, some don't. If you're not getting that, I'm not sure what the situation is there. Not sure what could be happening. But okay, so it sounds like we're getting a mix of responses there. Some got a text and no call. Interesting. Okay, so I'll have to check into that for you folks. If you're getting a call and it's not my voice, I'll have to look into that and see what's happening there. Yeah, I'll have to look into that and find out what's going on there because it should all be my voice coming through. But if it's not, I'll have to kind of see what's happening there. So we'll check into that here in the next couple of days. So overall, from southern Dallas County here, moving into Ellis County, moving through Hill County, here's our line. So everything has kind of come together there, and so this is where we have some winds picking up here, especially from Midlothian and Venus, then down towards southern Ellis County and parts of Hill County. You can see kind of that bow shape. That's what we call that bow echo. So that's where those stronger winds are pushing through. And then again, northern Ellis County, southern Dallas County, that's going to be where more of those winds are moving through. And if we put this into motion, you can see that's one area of those winds, and then moving through Midlothian towards Red Oak and Waxahachie. So that's where those those stronger winds are moving through at this point. And let me put weather call in there in the chat one more time, just so you have that available to you. But we have stronger winds here, so towards Milford and Italy, and then from moving towards Waxahachie and Red Oak now. So that's where you're going to be getting those stronger winds, right on the front end, right on the beginning of these storms here. Okay. Yeah, just getting getting all of the notifications here. So, and yeah, I've heard that there's a lot of lightning and thunder with these systems as well. So plenty of that activity coming through. And let's see. Thank you, Penny, for your Venmo donation. Thank you, Keith, for Venmo. Thank you, Denise, on Venmo, and thank you, Crystal, on Cash App. Greatly appreciated there. So this storm system is moving east about. All right, yeah, we're a lot of questions coming in. We're gonna get to those questions here in a moment. Looks like a lot of people have the same questions. So this line, you can see the winds here. Let me get kind of back to the normal view that you're used to here. Put this back into motion. So moving into the Midlothian area now, the winds kind of ahead of that. So moving into Red Oak, Waxahachie, towards Italy and Milford here. So this line moving east at about, let's see where they clock this with the new warning. Okay, they say about 35 miles per hour. I would venture to say that may be a little bit on the slow end. So I would say moving probably a little closer to 40 miles per hour here. So that's where we're seeing the stronger winds here. So the stronger winds are going to be focused, southern Ellis County and then northern Ellis County, really, kind of those two areas. Okay. All right. So, a couple of things to note here. Let me go look at the hail cores here. A couple of things to note. We can see maybe some small hail in the Venus area. Hail could be picking up in the Whitney area here. Now, this storm down near Clifton, that is another one to pay attention to, another one to watch. So, from the Clifton area, that could move on eastward into parts of Hill County. That has just been updated. That lists a okay. Um, let's see here. Trying to read this update from the National Weather Service. Uh, so golf ball size hail possible in that Clifton storm. So we will keep an eye on that. But the rest of the storms here looks like the highest hail probability is going to be right now kind of in the Whitney area. So Whitney moving towards Hillsborough. So you could be looking at some hail in that storm. I would say, marble size, maybe up to ping pong size hail possible there. And then the storm near Clifton, definitely looking at a hail core in that one. So higher hail probabilities on the southern end of this line. And then the rest of this, the hail probabilities are not great, but it is stronger winds right now that are going to be pretty much the primary issue, especially getting into parts of Ellis County. Now, Michelle, your question about whether or not we're going to see more activity overnight, I will say that as far as what's considered, what's with this line of storms, it does look like we're done for a while at least as this moves through. Now, I have to qualify that because, and let me just check a model here. Take a quick look, because as a disturbance moves through central Texas, we could have some more storms early in the morning, around 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So it looks like that's mostly the southern part of our area, but I don't think we're really expecting severe weather with that. The next chance for severe weather is probably focused more tomorrow afternoon, evening period. I think that's probably what we're going to be looking at. Yeah, it looks like Ryan's getting ahead of me here. So yeah, so more storms likely in the morning and throughout the day. So really afternoon, evening here. So once we get through with these, we should at least get a break. And then tomorrow morning could be some showers and thunderstorms moving through as we get into, again, kind of, 5, 6, 7 a.m. or so, mostly probably in the southern half of our area, and then going on from there. Chris Andrade, so we were looking at timing adjusting throughout the day today. And then tonight we had the storm starting up a little quicker off to the west. So yeah, our timeline has adjusted some throughout the day. Desiree, you're asking how strong are the winds looking to hit Kaufman. It's a little tough to tell. Kaufman's a little farther away, but I would say that you're probably, I would say, be prepared for 50, 60 mile per hour winds in the Kaufman area. No rotation right now that we've seen in this line. We can take another look at that, but at this point, I'm not seeing anything that has me too concerned. Now, we do have to be attentive, at least, to the possibility now that we're seeing more of a gust front come through. So these are the westerly moving winds. That's what we're paying attention to at this point. So westerly moving winds, or easterly, I would say, from the west, moving through. So I know that winds are picking up. That doesn't immediately mean a tornado threat. That means that we're looking at stronger winds gusting ahead of this storm system. So that's what we're seeing from Red Oak to Waxahachie down towards Italy and Milford. We have those stronger straight line winds out ahead of that storm system. So the tornado threat is not great at this point, but we will be watching, because when you have these stronger winds, there can be times where you have, and we've seen them before, where we have those quick spin-ups, right? Those little quick spin-ups on the leading edge of these lines, and so we will have to pay attention to those at this point. Okay. Getting a couple of questions here that I'm not. Nikki Meiser, I'm not really sure. I assume you're talking about the hail. I'm not sure what that word is, but the hail. I mean, that hail core that was in the Whitney area going to be moving towards Hillsboro. So in that area, I would expect to see some larger hail, possibly from I would say quarter to half-dollar size hail at least. Could be closer to maybe marble size hail in some areas, but definitely a possibility of some hail in that storm. And then we will be watching the storm that just moved out of the Clifton area. Looks like we could be looking at a larger hail core in that area too. And hearing light rain with stronger winds over in the Maypearl area. Hail starting up in Midlothian. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, the more reports of hail starting up in Midlothian. And okay, so for everybody that was telling me to drink warm tea, the warm tea has arrived. So everybody, calm down. I will. I will have that there. So, Ro, you're talking about the low-hanging clouds above the North Grove subdivision. So, that's going to be those low clouds are going to be that kind of that shelf cloud that's going to be moving ahead of this storm system. So, not every low-hanging cloud is necessarily tornadic in nature. So, just kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to open the window here so I can see. So. Asking about Frost and Navarro Mills Lake, definitely storms headed that way. But I would say that we are looking at it being quite a while before those storms are in that area. So I would say at very least we are looking at the probability of 50 to 60 plus mile per hour winds, and then we'll have to watch for the hail probabilities there. We do have an area of hail med headed towards the Hillsboro area, and then down towards the Clifton area as well. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Okay, hail and winds and Waxahachie near Scarborough. So, unfortunately, the stronger storms have hit near Scarborough Renaissance Festival. Of course, opening weekend is next weekend. So, coming up here, and I'll be kind of keeping an eye on the storms for them as well. And I see that somebody on YouTube is very, very jaded by the trade of Luka Doncic, and as terrible as that is, hey, unfortunately, it's old news. We got to keep an attentive eye on the current reports. And folks asking about reports of hail in Waxahachie. I mean, it hasn't really gotten there yet, so I'm sure we will be getting those reports very soon. This whole line is moving at about 40 miles per hour at this point, as this whole system continues on. And lots of folks talking about hook echoes and that kind of thing. Very, very watching for those hook echoes. I don't see any kind of rotation right now in our area, so I think we're good to go there. We can double check though. I'm not seeing any kind of rotation near Mansfield, so I think we're good to go there. So I'm going to take one more quick break here. Again, I'm battling a allergy situation that's been weakening my voice all day, as I've been having to use my voice all day. So just give me a quick moment here. I'll be right back, and we'll continue severe weather coverage here at South Metro Weather. All right. Me and my croaky voice are back here. All right, let's get back to everything here. So I know that there's a lot of folks ahead of this storm system who are really concerned about when it's going to hit you. So let's try to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. So here's our storm system. Here's our line, and definitely more of a line at this point than those individual storms that we've been seeing. And it's moving. The whole line itself is moving about 40 miles per hour to the east. And I would say, as far as your wind gusts on the leader of those storms, or the leading edge of those storms, I would say is you're probably looking at 50 to 60 miles per hour winds. Could be gusting up to 70. So I mean that can relocate a few things. Unfortunately, outside of your house, I'm not seeing anything that has me immediately concerned about hail sizes at this point. The biggest hail concern that I have right now is south of Hillsborough. So we have been watching this storm. So in the Hillsborough area, that's where we're going to be looking at our bigger hail sizes there. So I would say south of Hillsborough, we could be looking at $half or larger, and I would say closer to quarter size hail probably in the Hillsborough area. And then from Waxahachie up to Red Oak could be some smaller hail at this point. But again, the hail sizes are not as dramatic as what we've seen. Strong winds moving through Ellis County right now from Red Oak to Waxahachie down towards Italy, Milford, and on to Hillsborough. So those storms continuing on to the east at, again, about 40 miles per hour. And I mean, they are booking it. They are making their way. Well, the good news is this storm that moved out of the Clifton area definitely not looking as intense at this point. Man, that's nice. So, Jamie, we'll be going back and forth between the different views here, showing different things, but I want to make sure that we're at least showing most of our area. So again, right down 35. Well, really the winds are approaching 45 here, and then getting closer to Blooming Grove, and then getting closer to parts of eastern Navarro County here, far southern, far southeastern Hill County as well, with those winds. And then, I mean, if you're in Venus, Grandview, down to Whitney, everything is pretty much pushed east of you at this point. So, those conditions are going to continue to improve, and as they continue to move on to the east. So these storms, the good news is, more good news I can share, is they're not going to hang around long enough, I don't think, to really make much of a flooding threat for this area. So I think we will skip that as well. I guess that was lightning. Light flickered a little bit, so that was a little annoying. So you can definitely tell that the storms moving through Ellis County don't look as intense as they did. That's some of the good news there. And then as you get into Hill County, that's definitely where the strongest storms are going on. So from Hillsborough down on towards west, that's going to be where kind of the stronger storm is. That's where we're going to be looking at the probability of at least some larger hail with this complex. And yeah, so let's kind of get back over to the winds here, because we are looking at kind of this leading edge. So the leading edge, it has moved past I-35 at this point, moving towards the 45 corridor here. So this is where we had that stronger area of winds, some stronger winds, stronger wind gusts, I should say, south of Hillsborough there, between there and west, with that stronger storm as well. And then if we get back over to the velocity view, again, from Hillsborough down towards west, that's where we're going to be seeing some of that larger hail with that storm system as well. And I always love that comparison. Sonic ice-sized hail at the Walgreens Distribution Center. Yeah, plenty of crazy lightning and thunder with this complex as well. And then, yeah, so I mean, this storm system moving through Ellis County at this point, definitely weakening at this time. Now, in Hill County, not so much. Hill County, you still got a pretty strong storm there, but definitely weakening through Ellis County. But those strong winds continue as it moves on towards I-45. So, yeah, hearing about some pea-sized hail in the Red Oak area. And then, okay, trying to follow some questions here. I know folks in Ennis are starting to watch this too, so let's move this over a little bit and talk about the I-45 corridor there in Ellis County. So from Ferris to Palmer, over to Ennis, and down towards Blooming Grove. So that's where we have those winds starting to pick up here. And so you are going to get those winds ahead of the main storm itself. And pretty crazy lightning moving over the studio here as well. I'm starting to see it out the window there. So we'll go back to the velocity because I know the winds are probably what most people are going to be seeing here. I think there was a question about a hook near Waxahachie. I'm not seeing any kind of rotation at this point. Not seeing that right now. National Weather Service cancels severe thunderstorm warning for Bosque and Hill. Just one question here. Okay. So this is just a great way to illustrate the winds as they're moving eastward. So again, Ferris, Palmer, over to Ennis. The first thing you're going to get is the winds, but we're not seeing any kind of rotation at this time on that line. So that's the positive news. And as we continue to monitor this going eastward, we will keep an eye on that. But we are looking at, as far as the hail, really just hearing pea-sized hail at this time in Ellis County. Haven't heard about Hill County at this point, but definitely pea-sized hail in the Ellis County area. I know a lot of people are seeing this hook here. I'm not seeing any kind of rotation affiliated with that at this time. So, yeah, reports of hail in the Red Oak area, but again, doesn't sound a whole lot bigger than just some pea-sized hail at this time. I'm going to go back and see if we have any official reports here. Lightning is really cranking up. Okay, so at 12:07, so that was how long ago? That was about 12 minutes ago. So about 12 minutes ago, a report of quarter-size hail in Midlothian. So you could be looking at maybe some pocket change size hail, maybe closer to quarter size in the Red Oak area. Sounds like most of that, as far as what reports we're getting, most of that is smaller, but there could be some larger hail kind of mixed in there. And after we have this line move through, it's possible we could see some more storms early tomorrow morning, especially in the southern half of our area, so Hill and Navarro counties, as a disturbance moves through central Texas. It's possible that we could get some activity there tomorrow morning around 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, that kind of area. So it's possible that we could be dealing with some of that going on, but it doesn't look like that activity is going to be severe. Looks like that should be more common than tomorrow afternoon and evening. Hopefully, my voice is better by that point because we have more storms that are possible. All right, so looks like somebody on YouTube says I guess the audio is off. Hopefully that's not the case, but you know that can happen. So a lot of questions about hail sizes in Waxahachie, and I haven't really heard anything larger than pea-sized hail in parts of Waxahachie. So it doesn't sound like Waxahachie is getting much of a hailstorm at this point. I think most of the hail is probably going to be in Hill County at this point. So from about Milford to Hillsboro, down towards west right now. So you can see the little pink areas, and so that's where we're going to be looking at more of the kind of prolific hail throughout that area. Okay, yeah. So yeah, most of our area is seeing just kind of pea-sized hail at this point. And yeah, so hearing there's some, hearing that there's some power outages as well. Unfortunately, between the gusty winds and the lightning and that kind of thing, not a big surprise there. So as we get into what we're seeing ahead of this, so strong winds moving across 45 right now, going to be moving into parts of Navarro County as well, and again, a stronger storm in Hill County right now, but it does look like that one may be kind of calming down a little bit as well. So let's take a look quickly at hail cores here. Yeah, so we could be looking at the hail core ramping up a little bit in the Red Oak area as that continues on towards Ferris, and then more of this east of Hillsboro, maybe a smaller hail core there, larger hail core south of Hillsboro right now. And okay, so new severe thunderstorm warning from southeastern Dallas County over into western, really most of Dallas County at this point, really, and then over into parts of Kaufman County. So new severe thunderstorm warning there up north of there. So yeah, so hail in Lancaster. So that sounds like this particular storm producing some hail there in the Lancaster Ferris area right now. So that tracks with what we're seeing. And then most of the hail at this point is going to be there in Hill County. Vicky, yeah, it definitely feels like the voice is going away soon. So unfortunately, it's just been getting worse throughout the evening. So hopefully, though, I can carry this on as we go forward here. So okay, so we have a couple of trends here. This particular storm is definitely hanging on to its intensity at this time. So that's going to continue on to the east, moving into Navarro County here. As far as Ellis County is concerned, this line is kind of falling apart, but there is still a stronger storm moving through the Ferris area, and that will continue on to the northeast into parts of Dallas and Kaufman counties. So really the strongest storm at this point, aside from the stronger winds that are moving out ahead of this storm, so those are moving towards Corsicana right now, over in towards the Corsicana area, towards Hubbard, and then this particular storm moving through parts of Hill County right now towards Navarro County. So just south of Hillsboro, that is where we're looking at probably the highest probability of some hail at this point, and that will continue to move on to the east. So as far as Ennis is concerned, I know there's a lot of folks in that area. Ennis, you definitely have some gusty winds going through there right now. Some stronger, a stronger storm here moving into the east. Looks like if you get any hail at all, it's going to be small hail. That'll move through, and then it shouldn't, last too much longer, and then you'll be good to go from there. Folks, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to wrap this up. My voice is just not going to last much longer. I will continue to post updates on the South Metro Weather page. Really, the biggest concern at this point is going to be for Navarro County. So as this continues to move on to the east, I will continue to post updates about this, but unfortunately, like I say, my voice is just not going to hang around, and I have to have a voice tomorrow as well. More storms are expected. So wrapping up severe weather coverage, but I will continue to have posts on the South Metro Weather page to keep you updated. My apologies for having to cut this short due to the voice issues, but continue to follow South Metro Weather on Facebook.